Hey YouTube, how is it going today? In this video, I'm going to be doing an update on BOXLIGHT Corporation, ticker symbol BOXL. They have some very good news out and the stock is moving up sharply, so I'm going to go over that news and then get into the chart and see if we can find out what could be coming next. And then after that, I'm going to get into some of your questions. Now, if you're new to my channel, I've been trading and investing for over 20 years, and in every video, I'll show you some of the potential trades and investments that I see setting up. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any future trading or investing ideas. And I also have a Patreon group, so if you would like to be a part of our community and see what we are buying and selling in real time, that link is in the description. All right, guys, so I'm going to jump right into this news article out today, and it says that BOXLIGHT recently provided their fourth quarter 2020 results exceeding their guidance and reported record orders of $33 million and revenues of $32 million, their largest sales pipeline in their history, including positive adjusted EBITDA and a strong balance sheet. Additionally, they committed to revenue guidance for the first quarter of 2021 of $28 million and noted that quarter one is seasonally their slowest and historically accounts for less than 20% of their annual revenue. They said they are happy to report they had a better than expected first quarter and have lifted their guidance from $28 million to $31 million in revenue. And additionally, they received record order intake for the quarter of greater than $40 million. Now, while the 10% revenue upside compared to the previous guidance is great news, the record 40+ million order intake is nothing short of impressive, particularly given the fact that the first quarter is seasonally weak. So the record Q1 book-to-bill ratio bodes very well for the remainder of the year. Analysts are currently projecting full year 2021 revenues of $142.1 million, but assuming the business follows its usual seasonal pattern, we would actually expect full year revenues to come in between $155 and $160 million. Also, keep in mind that Q1 results do not include any meaningful revenue contributions from the company's strategic partnership with Samsung Electronics for the U.S. education market. After some initial delays, the joint offering is apparently going to hit the market real soon. In addition, the company is targeting growth in the higher margin non-K-12 education sales, which results in improved profitability over time. Today, K-12 education represents approximately 90% of their revenues, and the corporate and government sectors represent the remaining 10%. They expect non-K-12 education sales to trend towards 20 to 30% over the next several years, also noting that sales from their corporate and government verticals currently deliver gross margins greater than 40% as compared with those for K-12 education, which are between 25 and 30%. So, after reading this article, it's pretty easy to see why BOXLIGHT's share price is exploding lately. With sales and orders increasing more than expected, that should provide a pretty strong tailwind for the rest of the year. All right, so let's jump over to the charts and see what could be coming next for BOXLIGHT as far as price goes. But first, just a few things. I'm not going to go into this company too deep because I already did a video on that. If you want to see that, I'll link that at the end of this video if you want to learn a little bit more about what BOXLIGHT does. Number two, if I could ask you for a favor, if you could like the smash button for me for help with the YouTube algorithm, I would really appreciate that. And of course, number three is I'm not a financial advisor. All of this is just my opinion, so please do all of your own research before buying any stocks you see in my videos. This is for educational purposes only. All right, that being said, let's get into this chart, and if we zoom in a little bit, we can see that BOXLIGHT has been absolutely exploding these last several days, and I actually had this one on my chart. There's been so many decent lower price stocks that have been pulling back so hard in these last several weeks to several months. I kind of lost track of BOXLIGHT. I wanted to grab it once it got down to this support level that I had drawn on the chart. See, if I back it out here, you can see that's a pretty strong support area. You got a lot of touches, and that's just a tip for you if you're not too familiar with technical analysis. When you're drawing support and resistance area, try to draw that line on the area that has the most touches. Those are usually the strongest areas of support and resistance. There's not always, absolute tops and absolute bottoms are where you're going to find the strongest support. They're usually just, the areas that have the most touches. So I put this one on the chart several months ago, waiting for the stock to pull back, and being that it was in line with this yellow line, this 200 period simple moving average, it formed a pretty strong area of support. Now, of course, it did bust through it for about a day or so, but as long as price gets back above it within a day or two, that still makes that area valid, and actually it makes that reversal even stronger. And we can see that's exactly what we're getting from BOXLIGHT Corporation right now. Just a huge move up. Big day 3 days ago on big volume, and today is gapping up on even bigger volume. It's pulling back right now. This is a midday video, so normally in the middle of the day you'll kind of get a little bit of a pullback. I would actually expect this to finish strong towards the top of the day. That might not happen because it's so extended, but usually, you get that midday pullback and then you kind of get some follow through near the close. But that being said, I do not own this stock at the moment, but I think if this stock does pull back to this blue line, which is the 50-period simple moving average, or to this white line, if this white line catches up, I'm guessing it's probably going to pull back into this area maybe in the next couple of days. I think that will be a fantastic entry point, especially with all this momentum that sales are going to be increasing through the end of the year. Investors and traders love that kind of news, and that's what they usually buy up, and that's why there's been so much volume these last couple of days. But if we go to the hourly chart and take a quick look intraday, back it out just a little bit and take another look at that support level. You can see that break where it came down, jumped back above it, came back down to it again, and then had that explosion. When you're looking at these support levels, just go intraday, watch for them to break above those moving averages, and then hold them, and then start to hook up. And more often than not, it's probably going to be off to the races, and you'll be finding some pretty decent gains, once they come down and bounce off of those support areas. But let's go to the weekly chart right now and see where the long-term trend could possibly be going. You can see it's just a beautiful rounded bottom formation. Had that little pullback. Sometimes they call these cup and handles. I usually like to just call them rounded bottoms. You can call them whatever you want, but had this nice pullback all the way down to the support area and that 50-period simple moving average on the weekly chart, and then you have this huge green candle. So, just a lot of strength in this stock right now, and you can put that trend line on it. You got a little bit of a triangle consolidation and the breakout starting. Now, what we need is a hold above this trend line, and then these these moving averages to just kind of catch up to it, and then you could get that slingshot move higher in BOXLIGHT. But it's just an absolutely beautiful chart pattern with great news behind it. I would expect BOXLIGHT to be much higher in the future. You never know what is going to happen as far as market conditions, because these lower price stocks have been out of favor, but a lot of these lower price stocks that do have some strong growth ahead of them have been pulling back as well. They've kind of been, throwing the baby out with the bathwater on these, and I had a few on my watch list that have some pretty decent fundamentals. BOXLIGHT was one of them, but there were so many of them pulling back, I kind of lost track of BOXLIGHT. And unfortunately, this one is kind of taking off without me, but I would love to get in on this one if it has a decent looking pullback, like a bullish flag or something like that. I think this one has an excellent opportunity to take out these previous highs, in the upper threes, right around 380 or so, because this is just a very bullish looking chart at the moment. All right, well, I'm going to get into some of your questions, and this one is from DKY, and he actually asked me about a couple of stocks. The first one I'm going to go into is PRTA, Prothena Corporation. I had never heard of this one until he asked about it, and they are a biotech, and I looked into their Seeking Alpha page briefly just to get a little bit of an overview on them. And I didn't like a lot of the numbers that I saw on Seeking Alpha. It just didn't seem like that great of a company, but looking at this chart, backing this thing up, this thing is just screaming accumulation. Like, this thing has been accumulation since the pandemic lows, just basically went sideways and had this huge explosion up. I don't know if this was as a result of earnings or maybe a product breakthrough. DKY, if you have anything juicy on this company, leave it down there in the comment section for me, because I would like to know more about this company, because this chart pattern is just screaming accumulation. Right now, there's only been traded 82,000 shares, so very low float, and Man, I really love how this chart pattern has been going sideways for these last several months and just looks poised to break out from this rounded bottom. It already had a false breakout, which I love to see before a stock eventually does break out. I love to see a little fake out move, a fall back into the consolidation, then a continuation sideways. Now, if you get a false breakout and then you get a breakdown, of course, you don't want to see that. But if you get one of these false breakouts and it just keeps going sideways, usually get at least one false breakout, usually before a decent move up. Sometimes you get 2 or 3 of them. But if I see one of them, usually that makes me a little bit more confident in the eventual breakout. And of course, this thing has been going sideways for several months. So, rule of thumb is the longer the base, the bigger the breakout. So, I mean, it already has that going for it. It already has one false breakout going for it that fell back into the consolidation. It's finding support at this 50-period simple moving average, not once, but twice. And it looks like it is just poised to break out. So, I actually really like this chart and the fact that it's a low float. It really intrigues me. I want to learn a little bit more about this company, but I like this chart pattern so far. I don't like the fundamentals, but I could be missing something. So please let me know if you know anything about this company. But DKY, I absolutely like this one, and honestly, I took a peek at your other one, and I liked your other one as well. It's PDC Energy, and this one is in the oil and gas. And of course, I love oil and gas stocks right now because they are just doing super, super well. Oil continues to go up, so that bodes well for these companies. Had a nice run up since November, like a lot of these stocks have done. Pulled back to the 50-period simple moving average, which is an absolutely healthy pullback. Jumped back up, broke below it just slightly, and then jumped right back above it. So this one looks like it's starting to hook back up. The fundamentals on PDC Energy were much better. I like those a lot better than PRTA. They are projected to have some pretty good revenue growth, and that is, of course, without rising oil prices, or at least not as much as they've risen. I'm sure those projections are a little old, so the more oil goes up, the more profitable these companies are supposed to be. So PDC, I mean, that's a nice looking chart as well. I mean, scares me a little bit once they have these huge run-ups, but as long as the pattern continues to remain healthy, it continues to only pull back and then hold just a small percentage of the initial move up. Of course, that is healthy, and if it does break to a new high, usually that means a continuation of the uptrend, but PDC is looking really good as well. So 2 very nice looking stocks, and this one has only been trading less than 500,000 shares on the day, so this is a lower float company as well. So thanks for showing me those, DKY, and if you have anything juicy on either one of these, man, please leave them for me in the comment section because I do like both of your picks. The next one is from Gino. He was asking me about GGII. And actually, I don't even know if that's how you say the name. My name is Gene, so everybody calls me Gino, or not everybody, just douchebag family members. So I'm just going to go with Gino here. But GGII is just exploding higher. It's only about 2 cents right now. Man, I wish you would have shown me this one, a month or so ago, because I probably wouldn't have been able to buy it just yet anyway. But this is exactly what these stocks like to look like. These are exactly what stocks look like before they usually take off when they're these low penny stocks. So let me go back in time here. Usually have that initial move up, you kind of start moving sideways, and then you jump over that white line, which is the 8-period exponential moving average, and then you get the explosion. So of course, this is the first step. Step 2 is going sideways until it jumps over those moving averages and holds. Just because it jumps above it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to take off. You want that hold and then the next move up. And then you have a pretty good chance of catching one of these huge winners. Now, this one is kind of extended. And, you got this big, long tail at the top, so that means it could be selling off. But, I mean, these stocks can really scream. I mean, this thing can go to 10 cents in a heartbeat the way this chart pattern is looking. So these ones are absolutely impossible to call tops on these. But I personally wouldn't be chasing this one. If this thing did pull back and found some support at this white line and then started to move up again, that would be the green light to try to grab the next move up. But, you know, there's a ton of risk right here. You got all these people below you that are looking to sell. Now, I don't know if you're in this one or not, or if you're just, you know, you're looking for a time to sell, or if you're looking for a time to enter. But if you're looking for a time to enter, I wouldn't do it just yet. I'd wait for a pullback, not only for a pullback, but just to see if it holds support at this moving average. If it doesn't hold support and bust right through it, I mean, the move could be over. Because you never know with these low-price stocks. Sometimes they only go up a couple cents. Sometimes they go up all the way to a quarter. I mean, you just never know. You have to wait to see how the stock reacts when it pulls back. If there's still support and still continued buying, then you got a green light to jump back in. But if, you know, everybody starts headed for the exit, then, you know, you just want to let it go. And you know that when it starts failing moving averages, like it comes down to these moving averages and doesn't even stop. Just blasts right through them like they're not even there. That means there's no support. So hopefully that answered your question. If you are looking to enter this stock, I'd wait for a pullback and again see if it finds support at this moving average. If you are already in the stock and you're looking for a time to get out, when stocks take off like this, when I'm in them, I like to feed a little bit into the market as they go up because, like I said, you can never consistently call tops, especially in exploding stocks like this. So hopefully that answered your question, Gino. And if you know anything about the stock, you know, let me know about this one in the comments as well. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions about any of these stocks, or if you have any other stocks you want me to take a look at, please leave them down there in the comment section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, guys, and until next time, take care.